After absorbing all the blood tubes apart from the spare one that contained Layla's blood, Quinn was feeling stronger than ever. Name, Quinn Talon. Race, Halfling. HP, 15 of 15. 110 of 200. Strength, 12. Agility, 12. Stamina, 11. If Quinn's body before was that of a top athlete in the past, then Quinn now surpassed the capabilities of regular human power. But he was still weak compared to those with an ability. Lucky for Quinn, it seemed like Riley and the other two students weren't very good fighters. In Quinn's old school, he would get into fights all the time, regardless of what ability they had. He saw how the others got bullied more than him, while the bullying for him lessened because they knew he was a target that would bite back. But because of this, Quinn managed to get a good grasp on how people fought and a good grasp on different abilities. If Quinn was to face a level 2 user who was good with their ability like Layla, at this point it was still most likely he would lose. What Quinn needed more than ever was more skills he could use. Blood Swipe was great, but it only had a distance of 5 meters, and it took away his health. With other abilities, you would be able to obtain new skills by purchasing books, or being taught by someone who already knew the skill. Quinn didn't have this option, as there was no one who he knew that had the same ability as him, and that, of course, meant there were no skill books either. Before Layla and Quinn split ways to head back to their dorm rooms, Quinn had one last request. "What do you know about what happened to Vorden?" Quinn asked. "Oh, your blonde friend," Layla replied. "Honestly, I don't know too much, because when everything happened, I was stuck in the hospital bed because of someone." Layla pointed at Quinn. Quinn laughed nervously. "Well, do you mind finding out for me? It seems like the second years are behind this and are stopping me and Peter from getting any information." "The second years are involved in this? Well, that's not good. You're not planning to get involved, are you?" Layla asked, concerned. Quinn thought back to when the second years had called Quinn, Peter, and Vorden out. That Momo person had warned them not to disturb the system within the school. Quinn wanted to put his face in, but at the time he couldn't. But now with this ability, he could grow stronger, without the need of help or relying on others, and he couldn't wait for the day he could put that Momo's face in. "Yeah, but I need to get stronger, of course." There was one big difference between the second years and first years, and that was something called awakening. The second years had learned how to awaken their ability. This allowed the user, regardless of the power level, to get a power boost for a short period of time. Once a user had awakened, they then could also form something called their soul weapon, a powerful weapon unique to each user that was formed in the body itself. This was different from a beast weapon, as a beast weapon could be used by anyone. After finishing everything he needed to do with Layla, the two of them split up, and Quinn said he would contact Layla via his watch when he needed her. Quinn also kept the test tube containing Layla's blood on him. What he needed to do now was figure out how long his body could go without needing blood. If Quinn was to go out on a mission or through a portal to another planet, there might be times where Quinn wouldn't be able to contact someone for a while. In these situations, he needed to know how many test tubes of blood to take with him. So for now, Quinn would do his best to avoid blood until the system message appeared again. If he fought anyone along the way, he could keep their blood for after. He didn't want to waste any precious stat points after all. Quinn headed back to his dorm room where Vorden and Peter were still practicing their Earth abilities. "I did it! I finally did it!" Peter shouted. Peter held a small, round, solid lump of mud in his hand. As he moved his hands, he was able to change the shape of the mud. He turned it from a ball into a long staff, then back into a ball again. "The only problem is, as a level 1 user, you'll need to keep some type of mud on you at all times," Vorden explained. "Perhaps it's best you keep it as a round staff and carry it around with you. Then you will always have something to take with you." Vorden then grabbed the mud and started to demonstrate. He did the same thing as Peter and started to change the mud ball into different shapes. But the difference between speeds was noticeable. While Peter took a long time to form the shape he wanted, Vorden was changing the mud in seconds. "Wow, is this 'cause you're a level 5 user, Vorden?" Peter asked. "No, this is something you should be able to do as well. It just takes practice. When I copy someone's ability, I also copy whatever power level it is at. So everything I can do with this mud, you should be able to do as well." Vorden then turned the mud ball into a sharp dagger and placed it up against Peter's neck. "See? Not so useless after all." Peter gulped as he looked down at the sword, but then realized that Vorden had already changed the ball's shape into a harmless stick and handed it back to Peter. "Oh, Quinn, you're back," Vorden said, smiling. "Did you have fun?" "Yeah, a little bit," Quinn said. "Vorden here said you got a girlfriend," Peter quickly added. "What?" Quinn said. "You know that girl that was with us at the testing that time." "Oh, her. No, we're just—" Quinn started to think about what his relationship with Layla was. He wouldn't exactly call them friends, and they definitely weren't lovers. "We're just acquaintances. I was talking about how she got to use her weapon and discussing what classes to take, since I won't be going to the elemental class with you two." "Oh, so you finally decided then?" Peter asked. "Yeah, I'm going to join the beast weapons class." When the next morning had arrived, Quinn made sure to pack some things with him in his bag. He put in the blood tube that contained Layla's blood, the 4 remaining empty tubes, and also the mask that he had bought at the convenience store. He never knew when a situation would come up when he had to use these things, so it was better to be prepared than unprepared. The 3 boys headed down for breakfast as a group as usual, and like always, people would give Quinn, Vorden, and Peter looks. Vorden decided to split from Quinn and Peter and sat on his own on the higher power level tables. But even then, no one seemed to be sitting next to Vorden. It was clear for some reason the second-year students were making Vorden a target, even though he was no longer hanging out with Quinn and Peter. "Do me a favor, will you?" Quinn asked. "Keep an eye on Vorden while you're in your combat classes today. If anything happens, let me know." "But if something happens, I won't be strong enough to help, and you can't exactly do anything either," Peter replied. Peter was right. Quinn right now could barely deal with the level 2 first-year students, never mind the second-year students. But at the same time, Quinn hated the fact that they might be targeting Vorden just because he chose to hang out with them. Perhaps Quinn could find a weak one in the group and target him at night for questioning. These groups always had a weak person acting as a shuttle for them, asking them to carry their things, grab their food for them, etc. "I'm not telling you to get involved. I don't think Vorden is expecting you to help him out either, but just let me know what you see." Peter then gave a quick look around the room to make sure no one was hearing the 2 of them before giving a nod. Finally, after finishing their breakfast, it was time for their combat classes. After registering what type of class you wanted to attend via the watch, it would then indicate what room you would be in for training that day. Quinn had chosen the beast weapons class after thinking long and hard. Quinn was known as a no-ability user, so it was really the only option for him. Otherwise, he would have to just sit back at the back of the other classes and do nothing. The weapon class was popular among those that had an ability that was able to enhance it. Those who could slightly see the future or had telekinesis ability like Layla would attend these classes, but Quinn wanted to find a weapon that would suit him and his fighting style. The weapons hall was away from the main school building and off to the side in its own separate building. It was a single, large, one-room building that had an Asian palace feeling to it. To enter the building, students needed to scan their watch into the scanner, and then the 2 large doors would slide open. Although the outside of the building had an Eastern feeling to it, the inside was completely different. It was a large room where the ceiling was about 20 meters high. The room had no decorations, apart from mountains and mountain of weapons hung up on the wall, and in the center of the room was a round, raised platform. Standing at the back of the hall was a bald-headed man wearing leather armor and had a long katana blade by his side. But the katana blade hilt was jagged and rough, and the back of the blade the same. It looked like it had been forged from an animal that was not of this planet. The man remained silent at the back with his eyes closed. Quinn could only assume the man was their teacher, being the oldest one in the room. The room slowly started to fill up with students, and that's when Layla had entered and spotted Quinn. She immediately came over to him and started chatting. Unlike when Vorden had spoken to Quinn, the other students didn't really pay attention because Layla herself was also considered weak. "This class is a lot more popular than I thought," Layla said. The room was filled with about 30 students inside. The other classes had around 50, but it was still more than they had expected. "Yeah, I wonder what weapon I should pick," Quinn said, staring at the wall. "Well, I already have mine," Layla said, pointing to her bow on her back. A lot of the students in the room already had weapons of their own. Quinn and a couple of others were the only ones who didn't have anything on them. Just then, while Quinn was busy staring at the wall, the other students started to get rowdy as someone entered the weapons hall. "What is she doing here? Isn't she an elemental user? Why would she be here?" "Who cares? Maybe we can spare with her." As Quinn turned around to see who the girl was everyone was talking about, it turns out he had already met her before. It was Erin Healy, the ice ability user. I wonder why she decided to go to this class instead of the elemental class, Layla asked. Just then the bald-headed man opened his eyes and shouted at the top of his voice, "Attention!" Everyone froze and turned to look at the old man. "My name is Leo, and I will be your teacher for today." Leo then pulled out his katana blade from his sheath and pointed it out in front of him. "Your first task will be to pick your weapon. You must think carefully. Your weapon is your lifeline. When your ability won't work, the only thing you can rely on is your own skills. Now go, and choose one from the wall around you." The students fanned out and started to look at weapons. Even those who had beast weapons already were trying out new ones. Quinn looked at the wall and saw all sorts of things. Axes, short swords, spiked clubs, whips, scythes. There was so much to choose from. Quinn was really having a hard time. Quinn looked at Layla and her bow. It matched up well with her telekinesis ability. If Quinn was to pick a ranged weapon, he would never be able to be as good as Layla. He needed something that suited him right now and his ability. Quinn then walked up to one of the random swords on the wall and used his inspect skill. Corge sword, tier basic beast weapon, strength +3, agility -2. The sword is incompatible with the skill blood swipe. The sword Quinn looked at was large in size and looked heavy. Quinn needed to be fast, so losing some points in agility was a definite no-no. But what surprised him was how much information his inspect skill had given him. It even told him if his blood swipe could be used with it. Maybe it wouldn't be so hard picking out a weapon after all, thanks to Quinn's inspect skill.
Subscribe to the Pocket FM Blockbuster YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notifications. Check out our channel for more exciting shows.